In this episode of Falmouth in Focus, we bring you scenes from the annual Veterans Day celebration, meet with a local resident who's recently published a children's book, and we hear from a Falmouth resident whose mission to inspire kindness is spreading across America. All this and much more on this edition of Falmouth in Focus.
Hello and welcome to Falmouth in Focus, FCTV's current affairs program. I'm Michael Kasparian.
And I am Queen Carberry Banda.
Downtown Falmouth came alive on November 11th for the annual Veterans Day celebration, and FCTV was there.
Yes, we at FCTV want to thank all our veterans for their service. Here are some of the scenes from the event.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. I am Robert Foose, a member of the Falmouth Veterans Council, and I will be your Master of Ceremony for today's Veterans Day ceremony. Unlike Memorial Day, which remembers and honors those who gave the ultimate sacrifice in service to their country, Veterans Day celebrates all men and women who have served in the United States Armed Forces. It is now my distinct honor to introduce today's keynote speaker, Cadet Ava Smith. A Falmouth native, Ava Smith is a student at Norwich University, where she studies psychology and criminal justice.
Ladies and gentlemen, distinguished guests, friends, and Falmouth community, it is beyond an absolute honor to speak here today. I am Ava Smith, and I am a proud veteran family member. I stand here before you, thankful a million times over to have stood alongside those who served our country in the most intimate of ranks, a loved one who supports a veteran for my entire 20-year life. I think to myself, how amazing it is that my mother and my father gave a combined 45 years of service to our country, had first-hand experience in combat, and raised a family on the military values, customs, and culture. How cool it is that my mom, a retired U.S. Army soldier for life, chose this town in which to retire. This community raised my mother, supported my family as we served, and received us back here with open arms. Thank you, Falmouth, for your support for me, my sister and my brother, my grandparents, and of course my parents through our family's years in service. I can attest to the fact that there's been many challenging and rich experiences and miles of travel. It's great to call this veteran-rich community home. Because I know Falmouth loves its veterans, this is not a surprise to me. The fantastic procession, this wonderful gathering, this time set aside to celebrate service to our nation and the individuals in uniform who have and continue to provide us with the freedoms we enjoy, our veterans.
You can watch the entire Veterans Day ceremony on FCTV Government Channel 15. Please check out our program listings at fctv.org. Thanks to Jeff Wayman for that story. And just a reminder to stay informed on the latest local, state, and federal government COVID-19 guidance with regular briefings from Falmouth Health Agent Scott McGann on FCTV Government Channel 15, on our Facebook page, and at fctv.org.
In addition, we would like to inform you that as of November 20th, Cape Cod Healthcare's COVID-19 drive-through testing site has been relocated from the Cape Cod Hospital campus to 25 Communication Way in Hyannis.
Yes. So now it is time for FCTV's condensed version of the takeaways from the recent municipal meetings. Selections are chosen based on community impact.
Falmouth Town Meeting members met this past Monday for their annual fall meeting. There were only 14 articles on this year's warrant, with town meeting wrapping up in just one night. The articles sparked discussions on non-capital improvements, which included a discussion about turf versus grass athletic fields, a petitioner's article to repeal the single-use plastic water bottle ban, and debate whether to adopt a bylaw to change the way the police department disposes of firearms.
Plastic pollution is still choking our oceans and killing off nearly half of the world's bird species and marine animals and ocean life. Plastics are still made of fossil fuels with emissions that contribute to our dangerously warming planet. Plastic water bottles still leach chemicals into our bodies, where they're linked to cancer, diabetes, endocrine disruption, and obesity.
These turf fields age with infill material, crumbs or pellets used to hold up this plastic grass, which then becomes tightly packed together. This makes the grass dangerously hard. The result is that the likelihood of severe concussions and joint injuries, including ACL tears, occurs. These injuries are more common on artificial turf compared to natural grass. The EPA initially promoted this product as a way to confront a waste tire disposal crisis. By 2015, faced with a cancer cluster and under congressional investigation, the agencies no longer claimed artificial turf to be safe.
Well, regardless of who the first purchasers would be, after our assault weapons are traded in and leave our police, they would most likely eventually appear in other states, possibly the neighboring states of New Hampshire, Vermont, Maine, where they're not banned and where they could be used against their police, against private security guards and school security guards, which are outgunned.
Hi, I'm Kelly Welch, a member of the Falmouth School Committee, here with a quick update about our meeting last night on Monday, November the 14th. It was a short meeting because town meeting was also last night, so we didn't cover a lot of topics, but we did have some important updates. We had an update on district safety from our new safety monitor coordinator, and we also had presentations from Dr. Woodward on tiered focus monitoring, which is information about an evaluation that the state does of whether or not we are following regulations on special education and civil rights. And then last, we had updates from the superintendent on a new law regarding student discipline and a potential increase that the state has proposed to out-of-district special education costs. And then we approved our minutes and adjourned early. You can always get more information about our meetings on our website or watch the full meeting on the YouTube page. Thanks so much.
To see the meetings in their entirety, please check out our Government Channel 15's program schedule at fctv.org.
After a short break, a local bicycle festival returns to the Cape Cod Fairgrounds. We'll take you there.
Belonging to Each Other is an organization that guides our Falmouth neighbors experiencing homelessness on their path to stability by providing temporary cold weather housing and year-round loving supportive services. I am Christina Williams, pastor of North Falmouth Congregational Church and vice chair of Belonging to Each Other. Rabbi Joaquin Prince once wrote, "Neighbor is not a geographic term, it is a moral concept. By this definition, we have many good neighbors in Falmouth, and some of them helped make Belonging to Each Other's mission possible this past winter season. 15 meal team volunteers made and delivered 326 meals to 45 people who were sheltered in local motels during dangerous weather. The Falmouth Service Center helped feed 22 of our neighbors experiencing homelessness who lived in 2 of our homes. 30 volunteer drivers took their neighbors to their jobs, medical appointments, and even helped them move into their new homes. 120 businesses, healthcare, and community organizations donated money and items to their neighbors so that they could rebuild their lives, like used furniture and housewares, toiletries and cleaning supplies, even walkers and hearing aids were donated for seniors experiencing homelessness. 12 local congregations stocked our houses and provided needed funds and holiday meals. Many more volunteers transformed the two houses belonging to each other rents into temporary homes for our neighbors transitioning to stability. Even school children got involved by making valentines for our neighbors experiencing homelessness. The list goes on and on. Thank you, Falmouth, for being a place filled with good neighbors.
Welcome back. The really rad festival of cyclocross returned to the Cape Cod Fairgrounds this year with much fanfare. This year, the race was chosen as the host event for the 2022 Pan American Cyclocross Championships.
Yes, it was a really great event. I wasn't there. So the Real Rad Festival tradition started back in 1980, and FCTV was there and spoke with some of the participants.
My name's Callie Roberson, and I haven't raced yet, but I'll race the women's elite race at, I think it's 1:30 today. So I live in Philly, and I race probably 40 races a year. So this will be I'll probably race about 20 cyclocross races this season. So all the way here for this race, and then next weekend we'll go west to Northampton and go race NoHo CX out there next weekend. But I think we'll stay up here this week so we don't have to do the down and back. So the vast majority of racing that I do is either UCI racing or USAC racing. So cyclocross is a fall-winter sport. This is very warm for November. Shout out climate change, I guess. So wearing short sleeves today is kind of I guess a treat, but also a bummer. But I'm not mad to have some warm temps. So yeah, we'll go into the winter, and then that means longer sleeves and cold weather, and maybe snow or rain. We're racing our nationals race in Connecticut in mid-December, so I would very highly doubt it's going to be like that in December. This is my second year coming up to Really Rad. It's always a treat. Kind of neat that they stepped up and hosted the Pan American Championships in a bind. It's been really cool to see so many people. Generally, you only see 3 numbers on people's numbers, but now we've got so many people racing, they needed to up it to 4. So that's pretty cool. Yeah, really thankful for them to host this race, and looking forward to another fun day of racing.
I'm a volunteer here. I'm from the Albany, New York area, and I help out with a lot of races out there, but I volunteer for things like this. Cyclocross is my favorite, but I work at all of them. Back home, our team, the Capital Bicycle Racing Club, we put on a series of road races, and I go out and work at all of those. We put on one mountain bike race, I work at that, and we have a series of 5 cyclocross races. I'm the promoter of the last one, the Bethlehem Cup, and I just give my time to all of them. Well, I just want to give 3 cheers to our CBRC development team. We've got a platoon of kids out here that just learned to cyclocross within the past year or 2, and they're flying. They're riding beautifully. They're skillful. They're up at 5 o'clock in the morning to show up for things like this. And so I want to take my hat off to their parents and to the kids. It's a pleasure to be able to work with them.
Thanks to Seth Harrington for that story. Samantha Bowers, the founder of the nonprofit Inspiration is Everywhere, recently published a children's book.
Yes, I had a chance to read that book. So the mother of 2 wrote and illustrated The Green Island, a collection of bedtime stories which were inspired by her own children. So here is Samantha talking about some of those lessons that we could all learn from her book.
So my name is Samantha Bauer. I'm the president of Inspiration is Everywhere. It's a local nonprofit in Falmouth, and I am newly a published author of The Green Island, book of bedtime stories that I used to tell my kids. So The Green Island is a collection of short stories that are divided into chapters that follow the adventures of Anthony and Isabella, who are my kids, and their cousins on adventures on a green island. And we came up with the idea of the Green Island through a nightlight that my daughter had. It was a turtle, who we featured in the story and named him Theo after her cousin. and he had green stars that it would project like a nightlight onto the ceiling. So she would ask me about, where the turtle came from and why the stars on the ceiling are green. So we created the Green Island where everything is green. When she asked why the stars were green, I came up with sort of an origin story for the island, where there's a goddess named Gaia who was lonely. She shatters a rock. Essentially, she throws it up in the air and punches it, and it turns into a bunch of islands. And she makes people out of herself. She takes pieces of her own body and of herself and strands of her hair, and she creates all these little people so that she can love them and not be lonely anymore. And when they die, the funeral pyres that they put the people on send their spirits up to the sky, where they look like little green freckles on her face. My favorite story in the book is, I think, the Slippery Situations chapter, where Isabel is really good at, doing many things. And in the book, she's really good at riding on the back of her cousin Theo as a turtle. He gives her lots of piggyback rides. So she rides Theo's back, and he's a turtle, and she can stand up with no hands. She's incredibly, agile and just physically talented. And her younger brother, Anthony, is like her shadow. He wants to do everything his big sister does. Everyone always asks if they're twins, because he wants to have, the same sweatshirts as her. He wants to do the same activities. They want to have the same toys. He looks up to her and admires her and wants to be like her. So when in the story, Anthony wants to ride on the turtle as well, he finds out that it's not as easy as she makes it look. So he gets frustrated and discouraged and cries and hits the water and loses faith in himself. But his big sister, who believes in him, and his cousins who believe in him, they urge him to keep trying over and over until he does it. My hopes for this book are to have other children who might be struggling with some of the themes that are in the book, like honesty, being afraid that if you are honest, you're going to get in trouble, or having a lack of faith in yourself and your abilities, or, being scared to do the right thing because the right thing is hard, or sticking up for people, or reaching out with kindness in an unkind world where you'll be the odd man out, and I want there to be more children like my children who struggle with all of these things, and the parents that read them the stories that struggle with all of these things, and to just be reminded that, it's a fantasy world with made-up adventures, but they all come from real struggles that my children have gone through, that I've gone through, and all of the lessons and the themes in the book come from real-life events and real things that they've gone through, that we just tweak them to make them a little more entertaining.
You can pick up a copy of The Green Island at Inspiration is Everywhere, which is located at 24 Spring Bars Road, also available online.
After the break, we'll hear more about an upcoming theater performance at Falmouth High School.
Hello, I'm Karen Delaney, the Executive Director of the Falmouth Service Center. The Service Center is a regional food pantry that is available to any household in need from any zip code. Households can pick up fresh and frozen fruits and vegetables, meat, dairy items, and non-perishable foods. Families often come weekly to pick up groceries from us to help stretch their food budget, which enables them to have more money available for other bills. In addition to food, we also have other services, ranging from financial assistance to back to school and special holiday programs. Our hand-in-hand thrift shop is a resource for families, and the proceeds benefit our FSC programs. All of this is accomplished by a small staff and over 400 active volunteers who are the backbone of our work. If you need help or want to help, please visit our website or give us a call for more information.
One local mother has made it her mission to spread kindness.
Brooke DeBarros lost her son Chase Soares to a tragic car accident in 2020. To honor his memory, she started a nonprofit, the Team Chase Foundation, to help spread random acts of kindness in the memory of her son.
Yes, so the organization awards scholarships to local students in addition to providing assistance to those in need. I spoke with Brooke here inside our FCTV studio to learn more about Chase and the Team Chase Foundation.
My son was Chase Orrs. He was my firstborn, the love of my life, and he was 23, and he was a Falmouth High School graduate, and he went on to go to SMCC in Portland, Maine, and then he transferred over to Plymouth State in New Hampshire. His passion was basketball.
So tell us about the foundation. How does it work? And you have brought us a little ball here.
Yeah, the foundation, I wanted it, I thought long and hard. It took about over a year to come up with an idea about my foundation, because it's not a regular foundation that's just one passion and that's it. So I wanted it to be kind of like surrounded like a team, like a basketball, like as if Chase was still here on a team and with a basketball. And I came up with Team Chase Foundation. So the team stands for Together Everyone Achieves More, and then Chase stands for Care, Help, and Share Every Day. And then so my foundation was set up like...
You did that. You turned his name into an acronym, right?
Yes. Yes.
Wow.
Yes, so everything that I do, it's Care, Help, and Share Every Day. That is Chase. So that's what we need to do. Everybody needs to care, help, and share every day. But the first concept I came up with it's called the Chase Challenge Kindness Ball. And what it is it's to do an act of kindness for somebody and pass it on. It's a basketball, and so I wanted to actually like bounce it forward, like pay it forward, pass it on, keep it rolling. So the point is to do an act of kindness and you pass the ball, so it will just keep on going and going and going. So what I came up with was, at first I was thinking, how do I get these in all the different states? I want them in all the different states. And of course, at first I said the first thing I would do is start with friends and family. But on the back of them, it says, enjoy this random act of kindness. It's your turn to pay it forward. Pass the kindness ball on with your random act of kindness and keep the ball rolling. So you can follow your ball on our interactive map to see how far your kindness travels. So what you do is you scan the QR code and it will take you to the map on the world map on the website. So you would put your name, you would put Queen, and you would put, it registers where the ball is. So you would put, I bought someone a cup of coffee. Mm-hmm. And then you can see all the acts of kindness that are being done all over the world.
To learn more about the Team Chase Foundation and how you can help spread kindness, please visit their website at teamchasefoundation.com.
Next on Falmouth in Focus, Falmouth High School opens their theater season the weekend of November 18th, 19th, and 20th with the comedy Puffs, or 7 increasingly eventful years at a certain school of magic and magic.
Set in the world of another well-known book and movie franchise, the show tags itself as a play for anyone who has never been destined to save the world. Here are some of the upcoming performances.
Falmouth High School Theater Company is presenting a production of Puffs, the story of a certain boy wizard at a certain school of magic, and it is the story of the underdog.
I've done a lot of plays before. I've been doing theater since I was in like 4th grade, but this show is kind of unique because there's some opportunities for improv, which is really fun. Like, I've always loved improv, and I think a lot of people were drawn to the show because it's really funny. It's also about it's parodying movies and books that a lot of people know about and really love.
Since we're all there and we're all trying to work on the same thing and we're all trying to make it as best as we can, where it's a lot of communication and it's a lot of getting to know people and getting to figure out the way that they work and what works best for everybody to try and make sure that they are comfortable in the situation and also things are getting done. Because of that, we've all been trying to work towards the same thing, and I think that has caused us to all become closer with each other.
You can see Puffs on Friday, November 18th at 7 p.m., Saturday, November 19th at 2 p.m. and 7 p.m., and Sunday, November 20th at 2 p.m.
Thanks to Ryan Weber for that story. Some of the same chemicals that allow our bodies to maintain health and fight off diseases are produced by corals.
Woods Hole Oceanographic Institute marine chemist Colleen Hansel is developing new generations of sensors that measure fleeting traces of these chemicals to diagnose reef health before a problem becomes apparent. Here's a look.
The expertise that I bring is that I study the chemistry of organismal health. So what are the chemicals that control the organism's immune system? And then how can we boost that immunity to help organisms survive? These are the same chemicals that our bodies use to fight off colds or when we get infected with a pathogen. And the same chemicals are being produced by corals, but they're really hard to measure because they live for about 30 seconds within the ocean. So what we need to be able to do is develop sensors to go in and measure it within the reef, which is what we've been working on for about the last 5 years. When we're in a coral reef ecosystem and we're trying to measure this chemical that's very short-lived, we're diving with an instrument that we call the disco. We take the wand and we put it right at the surface of the coral. The chemicals that the coral are producing are flowing out and away from the coral surface. And what the instrument does is it pulls that water up into the instrument and it measures that chemical in real time. And we can directly look at the instrument and say, oh, well, it's producing this chemical, or no, it's not producing the chemical. Our hope and goal is to make this autonomous. So what we want to do is miniaturize it, bring it down to the size of a button. And what we want to be able to do is make these deployable where we can stick them out right at the surfaces of various corals within a reef, and then have that information sent to us via satellite in real time.
Thanks to the Woods Hole Oceanographic Institute for that story. Join us next time as we continue our look at coral reef research thanks to our friends at WHOI.
Yes, FCTV wants to remind you that television can be as easy as hitting record on your smartphone.
We'd like to invite all Falmouth residents and visitors to share their slice of life with us. Email us your photos and videos or upload them to Facebook, Twitter, or Instagram using the hashtag MyFalmouth or Falmouth in Focus to be featured on the show. Thank you to our most recent contributors.
And now we would like to leave you with the stirring sights and sounds of the 8th annual breakfast in tribute to our veterans held at the Flying Bridge Restaurant. Thank you for watching Falmouth in Focus. Have a wonderful day.
I am so grateful to be among you Titans. Today, I'm here as the daughter of an Air Force serviceman. My dad was the guy that would be dropped in alone behind enemy lines to lay communications in advance of troops. Can you fathom the bravery born from the heart and soul of love and country? You can, because it is you. And it is why we need to continue to tell the stories of you to the next generation. To see all of you here today is a testament to the deep respect we should all hold for our veterans and pride in our democratic institutions and those who have dedicated their lives to upholding them. Today is a day to celebrate both all of those still among us and those who have since passed. We honor their legacy by reminding each other what it takes to make our communities worth fighting for. For the land